Like, in the Epstein files, I forget who Epstein was emailing, but it, like, straight up said, like, oh, yeah, Jared Kushner has been the one pulling the shots for Trump's first term.
Before we talk about that, we can go forward with the next question, because we just barely, I think that gives us a good segue from reform over revolution. Since you bring up the Epstein files again, earlier you brought up, did Joe Biden have access to the Epstein files? So just keep that question in mind, just to kind of call back. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah, well, honestly, I think there's an argument to be made that Biden himself didn't know about the Epstein files, because honestly, I think he was dementia. Like, I think that he was showing signs of it. I think that he also was a useful idiot, just for different power players. Like, the argument that Joe Biden didn't know about the Epstein files is more about incompetence and less about that he would have done anything about it.
Well, we have to remember that they all said that he didn't release them because he was in them, but my king might go, I carry his challenge going everywhere. My King Biden was not in the files, not even one mention.
Yeah, just doing that shit for love of the game. Yeah, no, I don't think he was like a corroborator with Epstein. I just think that it's crazy how 2 years before he got into the presidency, there was, Epstein's arrest and suicide, which, come on, man. And I think that
if you've seen the state of the federal prison system, it's a little more believable that he killed himself, because they just failed every single procedure they needed to take to prevent him from killing himself. They didn't. It was just gross incompetence at every level.
I mean, I guess that's what... No, I honestly believe that he's alive and well. That's my conspiracy theory. I believe.
I just don't believe in any conspiracy theories. It's kind of my
You don't know who coined the term conspiracy theory?
Was it like the CIA or something?
Yeah. It's to basically dismiss things where it's like people like Alex Jones were like, oh, there's a cabal of pedophile elite running this country and they drink blood and all this shit. And it's like, you aren't too far off, but throwing in the insane shit with the sane shit makes the sane shit look insane. Where it's like, some of these flat earth conspiracies are like, oh, don't trust NASA, they're lying to us, right? And I'm like, I think they're lying to us about military capabilities, because I think they're a military project, right? If the reason for going to the moon was to test out intercontinental ballistic missile technology, right? Because that's the real practical.
That's partly true.
Yeah, so it's by throwing in some of these NASA conspiracy theories with the flat Earth conspiracy theories, it totally dismisses the entire truth of it. And it's all these Epstein conspiracy theories are funny because, I think that he very well could be alive. I think he could equally be dead. I think he served his purpose for the elite that controlled him. But also, it's so suspicious, man. What happened to the footage? Where's the footage? Where's the 3 million Epstein files that were promised to be released and never were? All this shit just makes me really think that there's so much more going on than we actually know about with the Epstein case.
There very well could be, but there's nothing that we have nothing to go on to speculate. So it's just feelings, just post hoc. It's kind of like historicism. It's we kind of feel like there's this general trend in the data. We can't actually make any testable claims.
Yeah. Oh, it's real sad how truth is so obscured.
We live in a post-truth society.
Yeah. Well,
we live in the Baudrillard, simulacra, where everyone lives in their own echo chamber. I think that's the biggest issue with American liberal democracy. We don't live in a shared reality anymore. That's a civilizational threat.
Oh, 1,000%. Well, it's because there's a collapse in faith in these systemic institutions, right?
If we can't even agree on basic facts about reality, the country's just gonna die. There's nothing we can do about that. If we can't come together and say this is the truth, then the country's gone.
I would argue it's good for the leadership of the country that we can't agree on stuff, because I think if we were able to agree on more, then we'd be able to take power out of the hands of these sick rich fucks.
You both touched on
we could all agree,
ahead.
Trump was a collaborator with Epstein, right? The most basic thing that's literally a no-brainer. It's like he's mentioned tens of thousands of times in the released files, not to mention the files he hasn't released under his administration, which he's legally bound to do so. So I'm like, there's probably so much
they had
more.
DJ or DT.
Yeah, oh man, it's bad because. Yeah, but anyways, Ethan, you were gonna say something.
So you touched on conspiracies a little bit earlier. Here's something I want to demonstrate this point further. What do you think about 9/11, specifically dancing Israelis? I've heard both of you talk about it before.
I think it was an inside job, and I think it was Israel, but that's also like slightly unfounded. So I'm not going to say beyond a shadow of a doubt that it was Israel, but I do know that the FBI 1,000% was aware of the hijackers when they got here. Like, they knew about them. They also, why wasn't there an F-15 there within like 10 minutes of the first plane hitting the World Trade Center? And also,
I think at the time they did it.
Pentagon.
Say again?
You're cutting out a little
Say again?
bit.
Sorry. I am like 8,000 miles away, so the connection might not be the best.
Yeah. Bro, get some good salmon for me while you're out there. Well, actually, salmon's not a huge... kind of, right? It's like usually my favorite.
Great fresh food. Fresh
sake, yeah.
Everything is super cheap. Like, you just go to town, like, 150 yen, and you're like, ooh, good food.
Hell yeah. No, I want to travel to Japan eventually. I want to travel all across the world, to be honest. I'm so sick of just Utah.
Ugh. I would go crazy if that's literally why I joined. They said, you'll go to Japan? Send me.
Yeah.
And when I'm training, I'm thinking, I'm defending Japan, I'm not defending America. Because my unit can't get deployed anywhere but here. Our whole mission is just to protect this strait.
Oh, yeah, well I honestly don't think things are going to heat up because I think China wants peaceful reunification. So I think they're kind of waiting for the United States to collapse. Like, I think I said that earlier. I'm like, China's just waiting for us to collapse. I think they are. Yeah. Like, I think North Korea is doing the same thing where they want to reunify with South Korea peacefully. They just can't with the United States there. So they're counting on our democracy completely.
Would we have K-pop if North Korea won the Korean War?
Yes, but I don't think it'd be as good.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, but maybe not worth hundreds of thousands of innocent people getting blown up, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Taiwan and South Korea are two I follow very closely, and it's cool because you also must be very aware of the situation considering you're fucking there.
I'm always paying attention to the Taiwan developments.
Yeah, like, I genuinely don't think that China's just gonna up and invade Taiwan on a random Monday afternoon or some shit. Like, there's gonna be, like, we're gonna know what's happening before. Like, you'll know it before it happens.
There's gonna be forces massing. It's gonna be pretty obvious it's coming. There's gonna be the forces massing. They're preparing their assault. There's gonna be changes in like military patterns.
Yeah.
It's gonna
100%. Yeah, it's something I do worry about though, just because that's such a critical point. Like, the South China Sea in general is such a strategic point. Like, in World War II, is now, of course, it's even more relevant. So I just hope for prolonged peace until the United States becomes better. Because also, Taiwan's not a real country. Do you want to debate on that?
I think they're a project of patriots. Okay, They had the rich Chinese nationalists travel abroad and like intentionally tried to influence countries. I think it was like one of the greatest psyops ever, trying to like get all of the manufacturing to Taiwan. I think it's super impressive that they were able to do that. Like Taiwan wouldn't exist without like all like this, all those guys working, going like, okay, move your. It's like they're Asians, not be they're like super smart technology guys, so they're like up there in their companies, like they chose to like risk their positions to move infrastructure to Taiwan for the benefit of their country.
Yeah, well, it's the only reason why I say Taiwan's not a real country is because they're the ROC. They claim to be the legitimate Chinese government of the whole thing, right? It's like they don't claim to be. Oh, we're the Chinese government. They're like, oh. We're the Republic of China, led by the Kuomintang. Like, it's pretty simple, but I don't know. Something that, like, some people get a little triggered by just because, like, there's so much discourse around Taiwan, of course, understandably, but, like, most people don't know the context. I think it's really interesting.
What do you think about Hong Kong?
Oh, it has one of the highest billionaires per capita on Earth. I think it's a very unique place. I haven't visited yet, but from what I've heard, it's pretty chill to live there. Like, I had a pen pal in elementary school that lived in Hong Kong, and he loved it. But, like, it's literally, like, the face of Chinese capitalism. You know what I mean? It's like...
Because like they have been like trying to crack down on that more. Like, do you think it's like fair for the people living there? Like, they want to have like their Western like freedoms, but like China's like, you're gonna threaten the harmony of our country. Do you think it's fair for like China to like say, hey, you can't really do that. We're trying to like have a harmonious society. You're like kind of breaking the flow, so we're gonna like force you to change your ways a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good question. Honestly, I think that it's really hard because I, of course, support people's decisions to govern themselves, but also it's so unique in the fact that it's Chinese, but it was conquered by the British, and it was a British colony for I can't even remember how long, but for a while, and then now it's kind of more Americanized, and like Hong Kong liberation movements, I think are a little silly because they basically just want less taxes, and the billionaires and corporations just don't want the oversight of the Chinese government. But honestly, I think their oversight has been justified thus far. Like, their oversight of companies, I think, is what stops them from, like, kind of picking up the negative. It's what stops them from collapsing the same way the USSR did. Like, if they allowed a free Hong Kong, then they might see the same exact fate as the USSR, where they lose grip over the companies, they get too strong, they get too influential, and then now all of a sudden it's the companies running things, not the party. So, no, but also, I think that, I don't know, yeah, it's weird, because I also believe in internet censorship to a certain degree, but I think they go a little too far. Where it's like, I think that things like them banning pornography and online gambling and like hate speech are really good. But also, like, you can only speak on certain topics if you have a degree from a Chinese university in certain things. So I think that kind of like limits foreign expertise from reaching the Chinese public. But I understand why it's a strategy. I just don't know if I necessarily agree with it.
You understand like why like that works in China, but like probably the American people don't have the stomach for it, or like the Western people don't have like the stomach for it.
Oh yeah, well, I think that honestly it would be a good thing if we had similar media censorship to China, just because like pornography and online gambling are such evil vices that really like ruin people's lives genuinely.
I agree.
Also, I don't think. Yeah. But also, I don't think you should need a college degree in political science to say a political opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like the American people, like, it might be, like, the most, like, technically best. That's I said the same thing twice. I think it might be like technically optimal to do it that way, but like we can't just political institutions and like norms are built by cultures over thousands of years or hundreds of years, and like I feel like it'd be too radical a shift in the West to just like immediately just start like cracking down and saying, okay, you have to have this degree, you have to be like a certified politics man to speak on politics. I just think it's just against the spirit of our order.
Yeah, I think eventually it could be that way because basically my belief in how like Christianity affects culture mostly is through the idea that people are inherently evil and they have the sin that they're born with that God frees them of, right? Whereas the Chinese believe that people are a product of their circumstance, right? I think the American psyche is shifting towards something more similar to that, where people are realizing, like, no, God doesn't redeem you, you do, right? It's your own good that makes you good. It's not, you're not good because of God, you're good because you're good, you know what I mean? Like, we'll reach that point eventually, but also that's why I say that I don't think that there's going to be, like, a mass armed uprising in the United States in the next 5 to 10 years. I think it'll probably take longer than that.
So what does revolution look like for you?
So it looks like to me, basically in the United States, it'll look more like industrial sabotage of specifically like arms and technology corporations to essentially help other revolutions. Because basically, if we got like 1 million people and we all decided like, oh, let's storm Washington, D.C. and let's create a new government.
That's how the Bolsheviks took over.
Huh?
That's kind of how the Bolsheviks won, though. They just walked in and took over.
Yeah, so I'm saying that the Bolshevik strategy would not work in the United States. It'll work in the other countries. So basically, for the other countries where they can do that type of thing, the revolution in the United States looks more like making their job easier by creating, like, corporate sabotage. You know what I mean? Like, burning down factories.
Burned up that Amazon warehouse.
Yeah, exactly. That's what the revolution looks like, less than a Bolshevik uprising where they storm the Tsar's palace and everything. Like, no, we're not gonna. No, that's not happening. There's no historical precedent to suggest so either. So, yeah, like it would look like. I think that the revolution, or like basically the idea of communist revolution, started with the Bolsheviks, and I think it'll end with the United States. Like, I think we will be the final people to have a socialist government, just because, again, our ruling class is so effective. They're so heavily militarized. Like, even if you had 1,000 Luigi Mangions, no power would change. The power still remains in the upper class. The money still remains in the upper class. But also, I think, like, an added nuance to this whole thing is if there's some type of civil war. Because it's like, I can imagine, like, Oregon and Washington splintering off and starting a socialist state. But could I see Oklahoma and Texas doing the same thing? Hell no! So, yeah. Like, if the United States doesn't have civil war, then I'd say, like, 5 to 10 years after most other countries have, like, revolutions, and basically our supply chain gets fucked because we can no longer rely on, like, global slavery, right? Like, in the United States, we'll stop getting coffee at some point because the slaves that farm coffee will have their own uprising. And it's our job, or it's the American revolutionaries' job to make their life easier, to make it harder for American corporations to exploit people. But also, another nuance, right? So there's kind of like these three things of like, the one is like the slow burn of everyone else does revolution and they're the last people to do it. Second one is civil war, where certain areas of the United States have revolutions and others don't. The third one is kind of like a more traditional coup d'etat by the military. Because, like, genuinely, I think if enough military leadership kind of was like, oh, we're violating our oaths by serving Trump, we should, like, remove him and then do another election, basically. I think that could also start a revolution, basically, where it's like, it depends. I don't know. I haven't talked to any generals or anything ever, but I think that
it's a scary experience.
Yeah. The United States scary experience?
Yeah, talking to a general is pretty scary. I mean, if
Well, it's because they're the ones with, like, the most tangible power in America, I would say. Like, of course that power can get stripped from them, but if enough of them decided to revolt at once, and, like, their soldiers followed them, then, yeah, we could have a revolution, next week. Maybe they're planning that already. I don't know. But, yeah, it's complicated just because there's no, like, historical analogy, or, there's nothing similar to the United States in history. We're kind of one of a kind, I would say. We're not, like, people draw comparisons to, like, the Roman Empire and stuff, and I, like, understand it, but the Roman Empire didn't have nuclear weapons, right? Whoever controls the nukes controls the world. So if the people who can launch nukes decide to revolt, the generals, yeah, we could totally have a revolution, but, unlikely.
What's different now that would cause a revolution that didn't happen? Like, we've had worse, like during the 1920s, there was like the Great Depression, like the 70s, there was the oil crisis, and then there was the financial crisis in the early 2000s. What's like different now that would make like the situation bad enough for people to revolt?
It's cost of living, it's tax brackets, it's this I'm going to summarize it as one thing. It's a lack of faith in institutions, right? Where people see a black man getting killed by suffocation through a cop, right? Once you see that, you trust cops less, right? Once you see Trump win the presidency, you trust the presidency less, right? When your congressional representative is obviously just an AIPAC shill, you trust him less. So I think the internet plays a huge part in it, but it's a lack of faith in the American institutions that I would say is greater now than ever.
I do think that is a good point, because there's been points where we've been poorer. There's been points where there's been more like violence, like in the 1970, the National Guard was shooting college students on campuses for protesting.
Oh, shit.
Like the country's been worse, but like there's never been a time in history, I think, where where America's government has been doubted so much. I guess besides like the Civil War. But even then, there was still faith in institutions. There was people believed, like the South, like they believed their president was like a legitimate ruler. Like the North believed Abraham Lincoln was a good leader. That they rallied behind him. But nowadays, there's like no popular support. There's no faith in institutions. That's what makes the government the government.
Precisely, and that's why I think that we need a new government, is because we shouldn't have faith in them. Like, they don't serve us, they serve the billionaires. And if we can somehow, in the midterms, elect enough politicians with financial integrity, maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to get out of this hole we're in. But I just doubt it so strongly.
Voting can do some good. So you think voting can do some good?
I think in areas it can do good, right? Like, I think that in areas of political unity, it can do good. Like, for example, like Utah, right? Most Utahns I've spoken to are very much against this data center, right? And I think most people I know are going to vote partially based off of that. So it's like, yeah, we can do some, like, little harm reduction, but it's also kind of goes back to that idea of, like, we have financial capital controlling all of the political capital, right? Like, all political power comes from money, and that's what we need to get rid of. Like, that would be the step to actually, like, preserving the Union, not having revolution. It's just that I doubt it. I doubt it so hard, man. There's no fucking way that Congress people are going to vote to give themselves a pay cut. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I don't have faith in it. I used to. I certainly used to. But then Bernie got snubbed twice, and I was like, If they won't vote for Bernie, there will never be anyone better.
Wait, do you think Bernie could win would have won in 2016?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, Hillary also won in 2016. She beat Trump in the popular vote.
Yeah, exactly.
So it doesn't matter. Like Bernie, I feel like Bernie. I don't know. I do think not picking Bernie was a really sad day for the Democratic Party.
Yeah,
a lot of people lost faith in politics. But there are things that do matter, and I do. So, did you vote in the 2024 election?
Yeah, I did. I voted for Jill Stein. Kind of a throwaway vote, but like, fuck it.
At least you voted. A lot of people weren't voting, and I think that's like Trump. People say it would have been just as bad under Kamala. I doubt it. I think the American people as a whole would be in a healthier position. I think there'd be less suffering across the nation, for sure.
Yeah,
a lot of people just were like for Palestinians, I think they would have been cooked either way. Maybe actually Trump is the top goy. He's like Israel prize, so he might have like done more. At least Joe Biden was like, okay, we're not going to give you 2,000-pound laser guided bombs if you keep doing this, or telling them we built the aid pier and we were bringing food in, and like Israel blew up our aid pier and like were shooting at us, and they said it was Hamas or whatever.
Yeah,
but like we were trying to help them a little bit. I feel like Trump's plan is to turn Palestine into like a resort. Like did you see that? Like his AI generated Palestine resort.
Disgusting. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, Kamala. It's also hard just because I can't. She was just so bad. Like, I could go at least 20 Dems that I would rather have than Kamala. Like, who I realistically wanted was Andrew Yang. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but
I like him. He could be good.
Yeah, he's proposing UBI since like 2016. So I'm like, hell yeah, man. But
pro-negative income tax. I think that'd be a good system for social safety nets.
1,000%. But it's the fact that Andrew Yang's never going to get elected that makes me a revolutionary. Again, like, we could have, good representation, but I don't think that the American system allows for it because, again, like, a lack of literacy and political consciousness.
I think this is important. I think this transition is going to be, like, this state of unrest is going to be good to, like, wake people up. Like, this state of, like, even though I'm not, like, revolutionary, I think either we're going to have a revolution or we're going to, like, push for better reform or, like, new leadership. Because people, I think, were, like, coasting. They weren't really paying attention to politics. Like, 8 years ago, nobody was paying attention to politics. There was, like, the super diehard Trump fans, super diehard Bernie fans. And nobody, like, really cared. Like, oh, the government's just going to do stuff. But now the government's doing stuff that's, like, actively destroying everyone's lives. Like, wait a second. This time. So I think now that so many people are invested in politics, this is an opportunity that the founding fathers could never dreamed of. Like, back when they wrote the Constitution, they're like, well, most people are going to be illiterate. They're not going to be paying attention. But their votes are still going to matter because they're humans. But we're going to, like, limit their influence a little bit because they're going to be uneducated. But I feel like now the American people are more educated on politics than ever before. And I do see hope that, like, someone like Andrew Yang or some other more sensible leader, like, we could bring back actual policies that would, like, bring the country, like, control corporations again, start breaking up monopolies again, bring back unions, all sorts of stuff that could make everyone's lives better. Like, even if it's not a revolution, like, you want, like, I feel like people's lives could be made better. That we have an opportunity to do that now.
We 100% could. It's just that the Democratic and Republican parties are so effective at stopping that. Because it's like, if you don't get the Democratic nomination as, a Democratic socialist, you're not getting elected. Like, that's the most fucked up part, is we have this two-party system that most people are genuinely not in favor of. They want more political parties, but, like, it's just that they're unpopular. Like, I really would love if, like, the Forward Party, the Andrew Yang's party, was a genuine contender, and that would give me more faith that, like, oh, yeah, we don't need to, like, have a revolution. But it's because the Democrats that I think we need one, because it'll never serve us. Like, unless we somehow coup the Democratic Party, like a mini revolution, I mean, that's, I guess, an idea, but I don't think it's very likely at all. But,
hey, Bernie Sanders was close, okay, in 2016. Even back then, when people didn't have, like, all the political will, like, socialism was still, like, a scary word that people couldn't say. Like, I like, it was the boogeyman. He got like 46% of the Democratic nomination or whatever. Like he got really close. I can't remember the exact amount, but he got really close to like, becoming the. I feel like now, like we could see it. I feel like we could see an Andrew Yang and a Bernie Sanders type, and the country would be better. And once everyone's lives are like improved, we could start focusing on helping other countries and I don't know,
but also
getting our fingers out of.
It's not in the interest of the Democratic Party because their donors don't want that, unfortunately, right?
It's not in the interest of the party, but candidates that there comes a point where there's too big to rig or whatever Trump said. like how did Trump win the 2024 election? It was too big to rig. That's how we're gonna win the right nominee in the Democratic Party. When 99% of the party is in favor of a guy, even if the top donors don't want him. Like, there's nothing, like, it's just too many. The momentum is too great. What they'll have to do is shift. They'll have to adjust to it. They'll have to, like, what they did with Trump. They didn't want Trump to win. They campaigned against him. They sent all their attack ads. They released the secret videos of Trump saying, grab him by the pussy. That didn't stop Trump. The American, like, the Republican coalition still formed around him. They still supported him. And so that Republican donors had to shift to supporting him. I think that same thing might happen with Andrew Yang.
I'd like for that to happen, but he's not that popular, unfortunately. Like, he did not pull well in the primaries. Like, I'd love for that. I'd love it, but I think...
But, hey, political sentiment has shifted so much so recently. The American people are, like, realizing that our system is broken right now. It doesn't have the balances it needs. It doesn't have the institutional strength it needs. Or the trust. What we need is a candidate to run on like the campaign. Their slogan needs to be like trust or something.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think that the next 2 years and 6 months will really show, if this is all possible. Because I really want to believe you. Like, I really want to believe that the Democrats would actually, put somebody into the nomination by primary, but in 2024, we didn't get a primary now, did we?
That was an emergency. I think that was a disaster. I honestly don't think we should have pulled Joe Biden, even though he was like, even though he was super senile at that point, like he had a horrible debate performance. I feel like pulling Joe Biden 100 days before the election, like, was the biggest tactical blunder ever. And like, as much as I'm a Joe Biden stan, I have to admit he did break his promise. He said he would be a one-term candidate. That's what he said. He said, "I'm just a stopgap. I'm gonna stop Trump's insanity. I'm gonna try and heal the country. I'm gonna get us back on a good course." And he overall did. He did a phenomenal job as president. The slander against him is unacceptable, like, from the media. Like, he did an amazing job, far better than I expected him to do. But he got greedy in the end. He was supposed to step down, but he didn't want to do that. And I think he kind of cost us the election by not stepping down.
Would you say his mental faculties were there the duration of his presidency?
He was making sound decisions, and he was still himself. I don't think he was gone. I don't think he was like a zombie, but he was definitely too slow to like be an adaptive, charismatic leader by the end, which is why he should have just said, "Hey, we're having a primary. I'm nominating my vice president. She's gonna run. She's gonna be the first female president." He should have had that clear from the start, or they could have picked somebody else. And that's just what I think.
I think he had a stutter, so I think people kind of misconstrued that as dementia.
Yeah, Donald Trump is far more demented than.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know. I just have mixed. I don't like Joe Biden. Because it'll always be Palestine for me, 100%. Like, I will never, ever back down from that position, no matter how good the politician is. If they don't call for the end of the state of Israel, I'm not going to support them. It's just as simple as that, because, yeah, it's non-negotiable for me. I would never, ever, ever be able to cross that line. And I think a lot of people are in the same camp as me. And so I think that for the Democrats to have a chance, they need to run an anti-Israeli politician. But also, like,
maybe with the younger demographic.
It's a good.
I think if they were, yeah.
If there weren't a state of Israel, the United States would have to invent one for her interests.
Yeah. I mean, he was being honest there. He was being honest.
Yeah.
I think in the past he was a much bigger Israel supporter. I think his stances have shifted over time, like most of the population. Because back in his day, like, Israel was a scrappy underdog. They weren't like the dominating oppressor yet. Like, they were still oppressing people, but they were seen as the scrappy underdog. It's like a ragtag team of Zionists had stolen, like, weapons. They had smuggled in, like, equipment from the Soviet Union. They had weapons they needed. They defeated all of the Arab League in their first battle. Like, the first day of Israel, they got invaded from every side. They fought them off. And they're God's chosen people. And they're coming to bring about the second coming of Christ. And, like, world peace is imminent. So it makes sense. I think Joe Biden's a real Christian. So he probably believed that I think he's realized that. But Donald Trump claims to be a Christian. I don't think he's a real Christian. I don't think he believes in Jesus or the Bible or anything. But I do think there was a very religious element to the support for Israel. So it's like a very unique case. It's like the Bible does like billions of people believe in this book, and like it does condone this sort of thing that Israel's doing past.
Yeah, well, it's like literally like the Torah, the Ten Commandments condemn this sort of thing. So, like,
well, the Bible's contradictory. Nothing disagrees with the Bible more than the Bible.
Yeah.
The discussion more or less ended at this point, so I'm going to cut off the recording here. I think it was a pretty productive debate. A lot of very interesting points. We kind of just we all kind of just let the discussion kind of go wherever it led. I think it led to a lot more kind of organic discourse. I think it's really the strength of the discussion we had. So this is the end of part 2. We'll hopefully have some new episodes coming soon.